Hello fellow YouTubers, this is Utah Moses here for my last review before the New Year's, and the one I'm doing is True Grit by the Coen Brothers.
Help me!
I can do nothing for you, son.
Now, this is the remake of the old John Wayne film by the same name and by the same story about a 14-year-old girl named Maddie Ross who goes out and avenges the death of her father, who was killed by a man named Tom Shaney, and so she seeks out the assistance of the old Marshal Sheriff, Rooster Cogburn, played by our own, the Dude Lebowski, Jeff Bridges.
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening.
Ow!
They're also accompanied by a Texan Ranger named LaBeef, played by Matt Damon, and so together they head into Indian Territory to hunt down Tom Shaney and bring him to the desired town where Maddie Ross wants him to be hanged. Now, I've also watched the old John Wayne version of True Grit, and after watching both of the films, I can only find a few differences about the two. Like, for one, and this is an obvious one, the Rooster Cogburn played by John Wayne was his eye patch on his right eye, while the one played by Jeff Bridges was it on his left eye. And in the beginning of the old one, it shows Tom Shaney killing Maddie Ross's father, while in the new one, we don't see Tom Shaney up until the third part of the movie. And this last one is going to be a spoiler, but I think LaBeef lived at the end of the new one, while in the old one, he died saving Rooster and Maddie from a bunch of snakes. Now let's talk about the acting. Now, I always find Jeff Bridges to be very appealing in every movie he's in, especially when he's playing himself in half of them. And in True Grit, he was doing the same, only except that when he gets drunk or starts acting drunk, I thought it was really hilarious, and yet it's the best way of him channeling the John Wayne character. Because a lot of people think they can impersonate John Wayne just as easily as he can, just by putting on an ascot and wearing a cowboy hat.
Okay, Peter Graham.
Now, Matt Damon as LaBeef.
Matt Damon.
I thought Matt Damon as a Texan Ranger, I thought he was pretty different compared to when he was playing Jason Bourne most of the time. But I give most of the acting credit to the newcomer actress who played Maddie Ross, Hailee Steinfeld. I mean, she was really incredible and followed into the similar footsteps, or the same footsteps, as the original Maddie Ross was. And I don't know the name of the actress who first played her on the top of my head, so you'll have to look that up. And Hailee Steinfeld was one of the few actresses that I took very seriously when it comes to taking on such a movie role like this. So overall, I thought the Coen Brothers followed way too much into the original. As I said before, it was a scene-by-scene remake of the original John Wayne movie, and I've even read up on an article saying that they're going to be much more loyal to the book and focus the whole time on the Maddie Ross character. But that's the same thing that the original did. So I don't know how it made it any different from that. But I'm willing to forgive that, because the performances from Jeff Bridges and Hailee Steinfeld was incredible. I like a lot of the humor they interpreted, like a couple of examples, like when they were about to hang a Native American. He was about to say his dying words, but he was interrupted when someone put a flour bag over his head. And then there's when Maddie is sleeping in the same room as a old woman, and she's snoring like heck, and she just keeps on taking the blanket away from her. And lastly but not least, I find the cinematography in this to be just beautiful. So yeah, if you're not interested in old westerns or have no consideration in watching the John Wayne movie, then go and watch The True Grit by the Coen brothers. You'll like it. So out of 5, I'll give it 4 out of 5 stars. So most of the time, I normally have faith in a lot of directors when it comes to movies, because either if they're good or bad, you might not know what might come. And the Coen brothers have never made a bad movie. Except for The Ladykillers. But seeing that they're able to make a remake into a classic as well, I can't wait for the next film, and I'm going to take any other great director's word that they're going to adapt a movie that's already been made and make it more loyal to the book. But David Fincher's The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo is still not an exception. So, that's all for my review. Rate, comment, and subscribe, and if I forget, Happy New Year's to all of you. This is Utah Moses, signing out.